Right, this video is an introduction video for MAC 2233. If you have taken math classes at TCC before, but not this class, then you probably used Lumen Ohm as your online homework manager where you did the homework. Maybe you did your quizzes, and maybe you did your tests there as well. So just be aware that as I go through this, it might look a little different when I show you how to get on the homework, because we use Pearson software for this course. All right, but what I'm going to do is just start by going through the syllabus and pacing. This is all on the home page, and pretty much everything you need for the class is in Canvas on the home page. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this link. That's where the syllabus and pacing are. And I'll just run through the syllabus for this class. I don't know why I have my name written twice here. So I guess I got to fix that. Right. But this will open up the syllabus. Feel free to print this out, but since it's there for you, if you don't have the access to be able to print things very easily, then don't worry about it. So this class, MAC 2233, Calculus for Management. You're in section 3 here, and for those of you watching this video, this is the only section I have, so if you're not actually in section 3, I'm not sure how you're accessing this video. But your live hours, so when class time is Tuesday and Thursday from 9:30 to 10:45 a.m. My name is Ethan Williams. This is my email, and this is going to be the main way you can contact me besides Canvas Messenger. My office hours are written here, but I have a separate office hours tab on Canvas, which I'll go through more specifically. Now, the course description, MAC 2233, is prerequisite. You must get a C or better in MAC 1105. If you have taken MAC 2311 or 2312, which is Calculus 1 or 2, or if you are planning to major in some math, science, engineering, something like that, then this class is not for you. This is very specifically for business type majors, finance, accounting, things like that. Okay. All right, so what pretty much you can read the topics here. And I forgot to edit this part out. So this is not true. You do not need a graphing calculator. I have the calculator information written right below it. It is required to purchase a scientific or a graphing calculator. A scientific calculator is needed during the unit test and the final. And a TI-30 works great. If you have a graphing calculator, a TI-83 or 84 are fine. Yeah. You can't use a TI-89 or something super fancy. There's also an online graphing calculator, which I will put a link in Canvas for, and a short little video on how to use it after, sometime during the first week of class, and I'll make an announcement about that. All right, the grading scale, 90 to 100 is an A, 80 to 89 is a B, 70 to 79 is a C, 60 to 69 is a D, and below that is an F. And these are the way your grades will be weighted. Okay, so tests 1 through 3 are all worth 17% of your grade. The final exam is worth 19% of your grade. The homework is worth 20%. Quizzes are worth 10%. And there are practice tests for each test, which are not graded, but will offer some bonus points for the test, depending on how well you do. And I'll mention that when we get there below. So the textbook here, this will be the link that's on Canvas. You do have to purchase an access code. And the main thing here is if you don't go through Canvas, you might accidentally try to buy the wrong version because there's so many of them, but we use the 14th edition. But I'll show you how to make sure you get the right access code. Now, if you do buy this book not online because you want a hard copy or something else, make sure you buy the correct version. Right, the homework. To access the homework and all, the quizzes, the tests, the practice tests, literally to access everything, you do need an access code for the textbook. One important thing this means is do not buy a used textbook for this class because you will not be guaranteed to have an access code that works. Someone could have already used it or, just taken out the access code information from the book. And I will have a little thing on how to do that on Canvas. Make sure you can buy that. I think it's about $70, $60 or $70 for the semester for just the access code, but there's a book included if you buy the access code that's online. So you don't need to buy a book separately. And when I get there, it's not written here, but there is a 2-week free trial where you can just use it for a couple weeks. Maybe it's been a while since you've done math and you realize that this is going too fast, then you don't have to spend that $70, not be able to actually use it. And then you can maybe, get prepared and do this class next semester or something like that. All right, the quizzes are also going to be done on this software, and I have them detailed. There's also a little link in Canvas about how they'll work. Same thing for tests. And I'll have a totally separate video for dealing with the tests because the tests you will have to be proctored through HonorLock. For this class, you will have up to 2 attempts to do the test. If you are happy with your grade after the first attempt, though, you don't have to take it a second time. If you do take it a second time, then your grade will be the average of the 2. Now, one thing I'll skip ahead to the practice test and say some people like to just take the test, especially if they hear they had 2 attempts. They just like to take the test, do the questions. If you do the practice test, I'll just tell you right now, you've seen the questions. Different numbers, but the same setup. So if you do the practice test, you kind of treat that as your first version and then do the test for real after that. Also for the practice test, they're not for a grade, but if you receive an A on a practice test, you will get a 3% bonus on that test grade. Right? Only for an A, nothing for a B or a C or anything. And I'll show you the way the practice tests work is you'll be able to get an A if you do work it enough. Right, the final exam is cumulative, and it's going to work exactly like the unit test, except that it's cumulative. So that's really the only difference, and you have a little bit longer. The unit tests are 90 minutes. The final is 2 hours. This next section here about course content, this is just explaining how Canvas is set up. So I'll just show you when we get to showing you Canvas. All right, so one little thing here, submitting work on assignments. For homework and quizzes, you don't need to submit your work, but you do need to be practicing the way I show you in the lecture videos. You don't want to just try to memorize random specific rules or problems and how to answer their questions without showing your work. So you will be required to submit your work on tests. And if you do not submit work on tests, you might lose credit on your grade. If you do the test twice, then you will have to submit the work twice. And once again, I'll have a separate video for everything about the tests regarding that. But if you ever want your work graded, or not graded, but looked at for the homework or quizzes or anything, you can send me a picture in email or a Canvas, and we can talk about that. All right, so the live Q&A session and office hours. Basically, there's 2 meeting times. There's our normal class time, which I just realized I put the wrong class time in this class. That's for another one. It's Tuesday and Thursday from 9:30 to 10:45. Yeah, so I'll fix that. I don't want to cause confusion. So Tuesday, Thursday, 9:30 to 10:45. There will be a Zoom link, which I'll show you how to access the class times. And you can read through all the bullet points, basically how to prepare for class. But one thing I want to emphasize is that don't go to the class time expecting a lecture. The lectures are made based on the notes that I go through, and there's videos already on Canvas, which I'll show you, and you can access them at any time. Right. The reason why I like to do it like this instead of a normal lecture is that you can use all 75 minutes each class to ask questions, especially if none of your classmates have questions. And the reason why this is so useful is that during a class time, it's only your class, right? So if you have to ask questions, you're only quote unquote competing against 30 other students to ask your questions. And most people end up having the similar questions. So when someone asks a question, it's probably one of your questions as well if you have one. Office hours are structured differently. One is that they're for the entire population of my students, which is about 200, but also it's a one at a time thing because most people in office hours like that one-on-one time. And if you think about, in class time, the 30 of you can be in class at once and just type your questions in the chat, and eventually we'll get to them. But if it's one-on-one time, if there's even just 5 students that need office hour help one day, you might not be able to get a time, or you might have compressed time. So just be aware of that. But definitely if you come across questions after the live sessions, office hours are your second best bet to get help, but there's also other resources which we'll get to when I show you on Canvas. Right, so the tips for success that I have, basically the main bullet points, watching this introduction video so you know where everything is. If you're watching it, then of course you're already doing this first one. The second one is adhering to the pacing schedule, which is the other thing I'll show you next. It'll tell you what you should be doing to keep on track, when the homeworks are due, and so on. And the way I really recommend working through this class, since you do have the benefit of the lectures being online instead of having to come to class for 75 straight minutes, is just watch the lectures in 10 to 15-minute intervals, then try the homework problems that are similar to the questions you just did. It's a better system than trying to watch an entire lecture video, or even going to an entire lecture and then doing your own doing the problems afterwards. If you try to do it on your own right afterwards, you'll learn much better, much quicker, and honestly, you won't spend as much time as you normally would on the class. And the other thing, this is a big thing, especially for this class, ask help if you need it. Right? I should be your primary resource because I'm your instructor. I make the tests, quizzes, everything for this class. I know exactly what is going to be on and what's expected. I will show you how where you can go to look for extra help though on Canvas. And really for this class, Calculus for Management, unless if you took an extra math class, the last one you probably took is college algebra, and this class from college algebra is a very big jump. It moves faster, and it really is much more challenging. So you have to make sure that you're staying on top of it, and if you feel like you're falling behind, ask for help. Right, the course withdrawal policy. If you decide to withdraw from this course, the deadline is November 3rd. The one thing I would suggest is just do not wait until this day to figure out how to do your withdrawals. You should do them exactly how you signed up for classes. But I do not withdraw students, so that's what this means. I do not AW students. You have to withdraw yourself. And if you have questions about what you think you should do, let me know. But don't wait till anywhere near this time to figure that out. That's not a good idea. Attendance. So I do not take attendance for class times. Big part of that, I don't normally take attendance if we're in person anyway. I firmly believe that being in college, you can make your own decisions. If you need and feel like you need to come to class, do that. If you need that help, if you're stuck, come to the class times and ask your questions. But it's up to you. I can't force you to come, and I don't, especially in a pandemic, I don't want to feel like there's an added stress of I have to come to class when maybe you're dealing with a change of work schedule because of what's going on or some other thing that might be going on in your life. Right, so I don't take attendance, but I highly recommend coming to them if you can make it. Even if you don't have questions, just come in and sit down. People might ask questions that would help you in the future. Maybe you haven't gotten as far as some other students. And when they ask questions, then what might not make sense that's being answered at the time might help you when you go to do it yourself. Right, so the help outside of class, right, pretty much just, even though it's in class, it doesn't necessarily feel like it's in class. Come to the live Q&A sessions. Email me questions if needed, or arrange a one-on-one during the virtual office hours, meaning just go to that Zoom link, which I will show you. This is not up yet, but there will be a discussion board for each on Canvas for each section's topics. And if you have a question, you and all your classmates will have the same kind of problems in the homework, meaning in section 4.2, number 7, everyone has a question that's very similar. If you can do one of them, you can do all of them. So, if you find that you do a lot of your work in the evening and you really just don't want to wait until the next morning to maybe get some help, maybe you'll have some classmates that'll be willing to help you in the discussion board. Smart Thinking and the Virtual Learning Commons are other tools. And then finally, the lecture videos, the corresponding notes with the lecture videos that I go through. And there's also like I said, the textbook when you buy the access code. While very thorough, most people don't like looking at math textbooks. It's not a bad idea for this class because what they go through might be, the more examples, the better, really. All right, communication. I send announcements, especially in an online class, fairly regularly, probably 1 or 2 times a week, even more than that when it comes to test week. And they get sent straight to your email. So you should check your email, especially being virtual every day, your TCC email. But I also know you can just look at the Canvas announcements on Canvas. As far as you contacting me, either message me through Canvas, or if you do email me, make sure you're emailing me through your TCC email. If you email me with a different one, I probably won't respond because I can't verify it's you, and we can't really talk about anything outside of your TCC email. Right. If you email me Monday through Friday, I will respond within 24 hours. Although if you email me before like 5 p.m. on the Monday through Friday, I will do my best to respond that day. I can't guarantee it, but I will do my best to respond that day. If you email me after 5 on a Friday, then you may not get an email back before Monday, so keep that in mind. All right, so computer usage, you are required to have access to a computer with reliable internet connection, especially the way that this class works. If you get accommodations, especially extra test time is the big one for this type of setting, let me know. I can help point you in the right direction, but there's also going to be a link on Canvas, especially if you don't want to physically go to campus unless you really have to. Maybe I can point you in the right direction. A final note here. Basically, what I like to mention to students, especially in this situation where we don't really ever interact with each other, is I want everyone to pass and do well, but I can't help you if you don't reach out to me or respond to me offering help. I'm going to have 12 office hours a week, and then you also have the 3 hours in your actual class. So that's like 15 hours a week. You can contact me with very quick turnaround for help. And if you're falling behind, you should take advantage of that. Um, if you're not doing well in the course, your test grades are in the 40s, and then the week before the final, you tell me you're going through all this stuff. That's something you should tell me early on, so I can help you out and get you, as best you can and be aware of your situation. If you just tell me something's going on the very last week of class, there's not a lot I can do. Right, so using HonorLock, it's just for tests, not for quizzes, so I'll edit that out. I will have a whole video, so I won't go through this now. Like I said, I will make a video so you can see it. But this is the big thing, especially for a lot of you that have used HonorLock before. You probably know that it's easy to get flagged. You might know what getting flagged means. And it's very easy to do that if you're doing a math test, because the way HonorLock works is it figures out if you're not looking at the webcam or not. But if you're doing math, you're going to look down and look at your own paper, and it might flag you for that. So unless if you're doing something very strange using your phone, which you're not allowed to do, if someone else is in the room, if you have another laptop around, if you're just doing your work and looking down at your work and it flags you, I will make sure that there's nothing wrong. You will only see a response from me if I see something wrong. So don't assume you will be penalized just because you get flagged. Right, the important dates, just very quickly, this is the one thing I really wanted to mention about the tests, is that they are available over a time span. Let me go ahead and actually show you on the calendar for the first test. So the first test, it says it's available September 17th through September 21st. The September 17th is a Thursday. This is a Tuesday, Thursday class. Basically, if we were in class, what I would be saying is we would have the test this day, September 17th. But because we do have this situation, it actually helps us a little bit. You don't have to take the test during class time anymore for this class. So what I do is I really just want you to be able to take the test before the next week's class, which is on the following Tuesday. So that is why the test will open up on the 17th. It will be due the 21st for the first one at midnight. And, really, once you sit down and take the tests, you got to do it in one sitting, but that's really a benefit for you in this type of scenario, is you can do the test when you're most comfortable. The exception with the midnight due dates is only with the finals week is December 7th through 11th, because of the quick turnaround of finals and everything needing to be graded, and then also getting your final grade submitted. The final is due Thursday of finals week at noon. You see I have that highlighted, underlined, bold, everything. And when that comes around, I'll mention it over and over again. All right, so the last few things about important dates. The first day of class starts August 24th. The last day to add a class is the next day, August 25th. And I always say this, but if you don't think you like the way this class will be set up, and having the lectures on videos instead of during class time, then maybe you would look into changing. But also, it's important because The drop deadline is August 28th. To get a refund, you must drop by the Friday of next week. And if you drop after Tuesday, you won't be able to add a new one. So keep that in mind. And then the last day to withdraw, as we mentioned, is November 3rd, which is about the 10th week of class. Grades will be available December 15th, which is after the Tuesday after finals week. And then the last thing, this only affects us on one day, the holidays. Labor Day and Veterans Day are Monday and Wednesday. But Thanksgiving break is a Wednesday through Friday. So that November 26th, we will not have class. Right, so that's the syllabus. As far as the pacing, if you click here, it'll open up an Excel type of file for you. And since it is an Excel file, if you wanted to, you could edit it, but this is what we'll be aiming for. So really, I have everything broken down into what you should be doing for lectures on Tuesday and Thursdays. The corresponding homeworks are due Fridays, and then either quizzes or tests are due on the following Monday. Right. The exception to that rule is the syllabus quiz, which is due the first Thursday, August 27th. But every other quiz or test is due Monday. Right. Now, this really guidelines, like I said, over here, what you should be doing. If you go through what I recommended, like kind of watching the lecture videos in spurts and then doing the homework alongside of it, really after you watch the lecture videos, you can be mostly done with the homeworks. And then that gives you the weekend to do the quiz, right? But I recommend if you can printing this out, if not, at least download it and put it on your desktop so that you can just look at it very easily in case the internet goes down and you need to look at it at some point. So what else is in here? So I showed you the syllabus and pacing, the student office hours. If you click on here, my office hours are right here. The Monday through Thursday ones are on Zoom and the Friday ones are email only. If you want to come to office hours in Zoom, you will go to this link. And then I've never had to do it, but if you need to, type in the meeting ID and password. And then also it tells you how to potentially add on your phone, but I've never done it on my phone, so I honestly have no idea how you do this if you want to join on your phone. And then if you want to come to the actual live meeting times, Tuesday and Thursday at 9:30, it's really, this just lists all of them that are set up already, but same idea. You have the link to join the Zoom and then the meeting ID and passcode if you need them. This is different than the office hours one. So if you click on the office hours one to come to the class time, you will not see anyone else. The next thing, student resources. So the first couple things are about the virtual learning commons. The first link here will show you how really some useful resources, helpful links and websites, how to get on smart thinking. And then the second one, this is really what you want to focus on. It's a handout, but if you go to this, so what I do is I highlight this and then I right click and it says go to it. And it's not online right now, so it's going to say closed because class hasn't started. But you click on there and it will get you onto the Learning Commons virtually. The Learning Commons is actually open on campus as well. If you want to go on campus or you do have an on-campus class, they've taken some guidelines to make sure everyone should be safe based on what the CDC recommends. All right, so the next one, virtual TCC, this has a few nice handouts for students. The one that I was talking about, if you get extra test time and you have that letter, you can click on the accessibility assistance, and then it'll tell you what you should do. And then you can read all of these and see what else might be important to you. This is an old link. I hope they update it for the fall soon. It says summer. And then some other student resources, more specifically about the pandemic. If you want to click here, there's some resources for you to look at. And then the last thing, this is special for this class, accessing and registering for my math lab, which is, I'll also show you on here. This just has a link with how to register, and it, for some reason, started at the last thing, but it goes through, tells you how to go through the process of getting registered. All right. So that's really what's up here in course information, and then also this video, which since you'll be watching is kind of irrelevant to say, but this video will have a fifth one down here. So how quizzes work? Quiz questions are questions taken from the homework on the indicated sections for the quiz. So quiz 1 being these sections here, quiz 2, those sections, and so on. The way the quizzes work, and I'll show you that a little bit, you get 3 attempts to take the quiz and only your highest grade will be saved. At the end of the semester, your lowest quiz will be dropped. But unlike the homework, you will not be allowed to enter the quizzes late. All right, so I'll show you all the little nuances on my math lab, but for quizzes, you won't be able to enter them late. All right, so if I click on a quiz link here, quiz 1. So since I'm on the student view, I'm not registered because I'm not called test student. You'll see if you click on one of these links, it'll make you read through this, accept, and then you have to register. And this will be fixed by the time you need to register. But if you click on one of the links, then it will ask you to register, and then you'll have the options of purchasing an access code, with the textbook, getting temporary access for 2 weeks while you maybe wait for financial aid. So what I'm going to do is just leave student view and kind of show you how it works. This will not now look exactly like yours, but you'll click Start Test. And then this green header here will indicate whether you're working on a quiz or a test. So what you'll do is you'll go through and answer all the questions. And then when you're done, you hit Submit Quiz. It will give you your grade. You can click OK. And you can also review your test. I guess I should do that first, and it'll tell you what you got right or wrong. I guess I randomly got that one right by guessing. But when you're done, just hit Close. Or everything's being slow. Yeah, you can just click off of it. Actually, if you go back to the home page, that'll work as well. And since I'm on a teacher, not a student account, it's going to keep saying attempts 1 of 3, but after you do it once, if you're not happy with your grade, you can click 2 of 3. But what I'll show you is if you click on this My Lab and Mastering it, you can actually open the student links, click on All Assignments or Course Home. If I click on All Assignments, it'll bring up all the assignments with their due dates, and you can actually do it directly through here. So I can click on Quiz 1 and Start Test here and go through it just like this. And I think most people like to open it in a new tab like this because you get the full screen, which is what I would recommend. Right, so that's the way the quiz works. You get 1 attempt to answer the questions all the way through, get your grade, and if you're not happy with your grade, you'll have 2 more attempts. All right, practice tests. Practice tests are going to be like the homework. And I have the bonuses outlined here, which is what I mentioned before. If you get an A on it, you will get a 3% bonus on your test grade. And I guess I call them study guides instead of practice tests, but not really a big deal. You can open them from here or go to the My Lab and Mastering and click on the All Assignments again, which is what I would recommend. Here I'll have everything about the tests and how you will submit your work for the test. And down here, Unit 1 through Unit 4, every section will have the following. It'll have a lecture video. And what this is it's just a lecture video of me going through the notes made in YouTube. And I will warn you that they can range in length quite a bit. On an average week, you should have about 1.5 hours of lecture videos. Keep in mind that you would have approximately 2.5 hours in lecture class every week, so this isn't quite as lengthy. Use that extra hour for sure to your benefit of working the homework alongside. And then the notes that I go through in lecture videos, the blank versions are right here under blank notes. What I usually recommend, if you can, is to print these out so that you don't have to write everything down. Then go through, follow the lecture along. So you have your filled out notes. And then if you want to just look at the filled out notes, which I don't really recommend, especially for this class because problems can get pretty long, but the filled out notes are also here, what I do in the video once it's done. And then the homework assignment is directly below, and you can click on here, or once again, click on the My Lab and Mastering. The way the homework works is very similar to the practice test, which I didn't show you, so I'll show you with the homework. If I click on a question, you'll see I had a red X because I got this wrong. If you want a different version, click similar version. All right, this is a graphing problem, so it's a little more annoying to try to show you, but you graph it. I got it wrong. It'll tell me I got it wrong, and then it'll give me a hint. And then I'll click it again. Oh, I got it wrong again. And you'll notice at the third one, it'll say final check. And since I got it wrong 3 times, you can click similar question and have the opportunity to get it correct. And that's the same way the practice tests work. So in theory, you can get 100% on the homework and the practice tests. You just have to work them enough. Right, so that's how all the homework sections work. Now, as far as content goes in this class, chapter 1, so section 1.3, 1.5, and 1.6 are college algebra reviews, and then chapter 2 and beyond is going to be where calculus starts. So do be aware of that. And also at this time, all I have for lecture videos are through Unit 1, Test 1, Section 2.4. And on your page, you won't see this because it'll be blocked off. But I will make sure the lecture videos pop up at least a week, if not, hopefully longer before you need them as far as the due dates. All right, so Section 2.5 lecture video, that homework is due September 25th, which is about 5 weeks away. So at least a week before that, if not well before that, this lecture video with the filled out notes will be uploaded. And what else is in Canvas here? If you click on the syllabus tab, remember the syllabus I put elsewhere, so you won't see the syllabus here. But it does show you when everything is due. And it shows you how your the grade is just weighted. The modules tab is the same as the home tab, and the announcements are where announcements get posted. A number will pop up here if there's a new announcement. Let me go back to the student view so I can show you the rest. We talked about My Lab and Mastering. Grades are where your grades are. So it'll look something like this. One thing that is very useful, especially when it comes down to the end of the class, is you can just kind of like see what would I have if for a final grade if I messed around. So notice the total is right here, and this is not your official score. If you want to make sure you fix that, click revert back. Right, but you can really save yourself some time, and you can answer the question, what do I need to get so and so grade on in the class? You can figure that out yourself in here. You won't ever really need to click on this honor lock tab to access the test. We talked about the My Lab and Mastering tab. You don't really need to ever click on the Zoom tab either, because accessing the class time and the office hours is done elsewhere in the top module. And then if you want to access Smart Thinking Tutoring, you click on this. And like I mentioned before, if you go to that website link, it might help you out more than going through here. Okay. And then the last thing I want to mention as far as the syllabus and introduction quiz, you have 2 attempts to it. It's the same questions both times, and after the first time, it tells you the answers. The point is I want you to know the vital details of this class and inside there. So make sure you work that and actually remember the way the course is set up and how to use office hours and everything else like that. Right, but outside of that, that's all that there is on Canvas. Once again, just to double reiterate, when you try to access this, it should be fixed by then. I think one of the reasons why this says it here is because I'm not an actual student, but I'll make sure this is working by the time you try to register. And if you don't have the money, or you're not sure if you're gonna, maybe you're taking this class but you're not really sure, get that temporary access, and then you can upgrade afterwards.